Hey everybody, it's Wendy and it's Wednesday and I am live here with two lovely ladies, Joyce and Nancy McCarrell. And fun fact, they have an order they like to sit. So right before the video, they were in the wrong order. So they're like, oh wait, let's do. Okay, so they have they have a feng shui to the order in which they sit. So I love that. These two ladies are sisters, and they are the owners of the cafe at Williams Hardware right on the Swamp Rabbit Trail in downtown Travelers Rest. And these ladies were the visionaries who saw the trail coming in and said, people are going to be hungry and thirsty, and we're going to feed them. So what's on the menu today, ladies?
Well, I think we've got an egg salad croissant.
Yeah, we do a good egg salad.
And a quiche. It's Wednesday, so we always have a quiche on Wednesday.
Okay.
And it's ham and cheddar today.
Ooh, yummy.
So y'all
That's one of the more popular ones.
Just get on up to the cafe and tune in. And,
Lunch from 11 to 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
On 7 days a week, and then we do breakfast on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
From 8 until we have a hard cutoff at 11 because it's.
Okay. People just linger all day, right?
Well, the kitchen is small, and you have to take all the breakfast stuff out and put all the lunch stuff in.
Oh yeah.
So.
For the
if our
switchover?
kitchen were as big as yours to here,
Yeah.
the Swamp Rabbit on Logan Street, we wouldn't have any problems. But
Yeah, we love our community kitchen. Our guests love our community kitchen. But a real treat is to rent a bike here at the inn, ride up the trail 10 miles to Travelers Rest, and stop and have lunch. It's the weekend, have breakfast at the cafe at Williams Hardware.
Exactly, that's the way
It's
to
a good
do
ride.
it.
Yeah, and I remember when the trail first opened, and I remember when you first opened.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you tell us about how this came to be? Were you restaurateurs before this?
No,
we had eaten in a
The
restaurant.
extent of our restaurant experience was that we had eaten in restaurants.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And
So
it
it was it was completely different from either of our careers, but the other things that we had been doing, I guess, gave us enough transferable skills that we were able to make a restaurant and gift shop work for the last 10 years.
Last 10 years.
Going on 10 years,
There's
I
10
guess.
years in this coming December.
So December of 08.
Of 08, yep.
And the trail opened in 08.
So it actually opened, the first paved portion occurred, I believe, in May of 09, because that was the first Swamp Rabbit 5K that was held then, and it was run partially on the paved portion, which started at the Sunrift Adventures and ran up to the cemetery.
That was the first.
Through the cemetery and back down.
Wow.
You know, they had all those bridge issues on down past Furman, and they had to install some bridges. So they were discouraging people from getting on it to come from Greenville to Travelers Rest or vice versa.
Okay.
But it didn't take them long. I mean, they got busy on it, and next thing we knew, the floodgates had opened.
Yeah, wonderful.
And then there were, as they were moving down the way, they paved to Furman, or to what was the old Scott's plant.
Oh yeah,
And then they skipped through that spot and went beyond that. And then they came back and had to deal with the old Scott's plant and take those buildings down and all of that. So
I think that was like, an original Superfund site or something.
It was something to deal with. And so when they were taking the building down, they had to run a detour of the trail. And the detour was really hard.
It was hard. Yes, that was hard. You had to go up over the hill.
Yeah.
I mean, every time they do a detour, it seems it
hard.
adds some strenuous activity or a hill or something, because Greenville is hilly. So when you're road cycling, it's great. It's great training, but for just the average cyclist, the trail is wonderful because it's flat and it's paved, and it's pretty doable for everyone. Hey Debbie, how are you? Our manager Debbie's watching.
But it is interesting to have seen the progression of people being able to make that trip from Greenville to Travelers Rest. And that little part behind Furman, right behind the lake, was a little strenuous for a lot of people, and now people just sail up there like they just, old hats at it. So it's interesting. We don't have as many people show up out of breath and looking like they need EMS now. It's all, people are good at it now.
Yeah, well, we don't know if they've just gotten better, if the people who look like they need EMS have quit riding.
For the most part, though, I mean, I see regulars out there, all ages. I mean, there are people in their 80s riding their bikes, walking.
And there are people who come from out of town to
from all over.
From North
We
Carolina.
like those people.
Yeah,
that's because they stay with us. Hey, Taryn. How are you?
Stay here and at the Inn and Travelers Rest.
Yes.
The Swamp Rabbit Inn Travelers Rest version.
Yes, we had to open one in Travelers Rest.
We had to.
So we cover both ends of the trail now. But tell us how you got this idea to open the cafe at Williams Hardware.
It was pretty simple.
Well, it's really just exactly what you said earlier. Nancy and I were riding around Travelers Rest one Sunday afternoon in the car, and we had stopped at the stoplight where Sunwrecked Adventures is. And
that day they had announced the trail.
We knew the trail was coming. So,
in the paper, back when they had,
So, and I said to Nancy, so you have gotten on your bicycle in downtown Greenville and you've ridden 10 miles all the way up here to Travelers Rest, and you've gotten to this point right here. And we were looking at the buildings that were at that intersection. I said, where do you go to the bathroom and where do you get a bottle of water?
Oh my gosh.
And of course there was nowhere to do either one of those things.
No.
And so who was it? Was it me or was it you?
I think I said something. Somebody's going to need to do something about that, because you're going to have that. And I'm blaming her, and she blames me, but I believe she's the one that said it.
Maybe that's
someone is us.
So that's how we.
But we were both in jobs Joyce was still working at Williams Sonoma, and was ready to move on to something different. And I had already quit. Had already gotten out of my not retired, but I just left the job that I had done all my life, which was medical office management. And so I was working at Mass General Store just to have a job, just have something to do. Yeah. So we were both at a place where we could say, okay, let's do something different. But the problem was finding a building to do it in. It was, there's not a lot of buildings in Travelers Rest, and the buildings that were there were not up for sale. And we just by chance heard that Dick Williams was looking to sell his buildings. He has those 2 buildings that we currently own. And we sent our real estate agent straight away over there, and next thing we knew, we were the proud owners of 2 buildings in downtown Travelers Rest.
Excellent. So, wow. It just, everything aligned for you.
So a year later we opened. It took, we had to do the construction, and so there was, and it was so strange to be open, and there was just nothing else open around us. I mean, there was nothing. Martha's Hardware was there, and but there just wasn't a lot left.
Adventures was there.
Yeah. I remember riding.
There were a lot of empty buildings.
And and we received a lot of support and guidance, I think, and advice, and just, she was a good cheerleader. Ildy Rebbe from Leopard Forest would come over and go, you're brilliant, and we were like, she'd leave and we'd go, oh, I wish she would say that. We are not brilliant.
We all need cheerleaders. Hey Earl, how are you?
We have lost our minds, and our parents are turning over in their graves, and oh Lord, we're spending money. We just don't need to be doing this, but it has all worked out. It's been a lot of fun.
It's been fun. We've had some interesting experiences.
What are some standout experiences?
Well, I think the most interesting thing that there's 2 events happening, or that have happened recently that tie to this 3rd thing that happened to us. But with the recent wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and then the Scottish Games are coming up. Well,
this weekend at Furman.
Prince Edward, Harry's uncle. I think he's Harry's uncle.
Yeah.
Came. It's been 5 or 6 years ago. Came to Travelers Rest
to the
Scottish Games, and we hosted a reception at the cafe. Where
that was nice. We were very pleased and surprised at how personable he was.
Yeah.
And he spoke to everybody there, and we were just, I was amazed because I couldn't have done all that. I mean, went around and shook hands and had a different question for everybody in the room.
Wow.
And it was about 100 people, so it was
It's
a crowd.
impressive.
That was
Wonderful
really
social
neat.
skills.
Yeah.
Yes, wonder he was raised right.
Yes, yes.
And one of the other things that happened right after we opened, the magazine of the South Carolina Electric Cooperatives is called South Carolina Living, and they did a article about Travelers Rest.
Okay.
And they mentioned us in that article.
And the revitalization.
And talking about the revitalization, because remember the streetscape revitalization that Travelers Rest did
Happened
was
after we
going
opened.
on at the same time as we were trying to get open, and they were trying
Wow.
to build a trail, and there was
All that was going on
there was
at
a
once.
time when you couldn't really access
The cafe.
by either
Either
front
the trail
back.
or the,
Yes,
oh my goodness.
main road.
It was just
Wow.
awful. But so when that article appeared in the South Carolina Living magazine, we were contacted by every former preacher that we had when we were growing up, just to say, "Oh, hey y'all, and how are you doing?" And
It was
that
so
just-
sweet. I mean, there were
yeah,
about 4 or
just-
5 of them. It
it
was
was
really
so funny.
sweet. So, and they've all been to visit us.
They came to visit.
How wonderful.
And so that was, and a lot of other people that we had not seen or heard from in years
Wow.
just show up and
Yeah.
still show up. Joyce was not there Monday. She took a couple of days off and went on a vacation, didn't you, sister?
She
So
did.
odd.
Awesome.
But some people showed up that she had worked with when she was practicing law, and were disappointed not to see her. But I encouraged them to come back.
Yeah.
So we have people come in. I have friends come in from college. Joyce does too. She went to Furman, so she sees more. But I went to Carson Newman, and it's still kind of.
We discovered a couple weeks ago. We discovered some cousins of some degree. We don't know.
We
didn't
what,
take the time to figure out what it
We
was.
didn't get the chart out.
But but we were talking about Dicey Langston, the local hero from the Revolutionary War,
Okay.
who settled in
Yeah.
Travelers Rest, and she had 22 children.
So
My
everybody.
So just about everybody
Everybody's
in
related.
Travelers Rest is related to.
Wow.
There's a
Dicey
group
Langston.
that is working on a statue for
Statue.
her, and
excellent.
some
commemorate her
Yes.
Yeah.
contribution to.
Okay.
So you'll be
To learn
hearing
about
more
her.
about
Yeah.
Dicey Langston.
Yeah.
She was
Very good.
the original fierce girl. She was
Fearless girl.
Fearless girl. Well, she was fierce too.
She was
had
fierce.
22 children.
But she was fearless.
This is a character we need to learn more
So,
about.
Yes.
Cool.
but she was from the Lawrence area, the Lawrence
Okay.
district as they called it back then. But she
She and her husband
settled in Travelers Rest
Okay.
area. So
in the Inner Reed
what's called the Inner
Inner Reed
Reed
Baptist Church community.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good.
So-
Thanks for watching. Hey, Lynn, if anybody has questions for the sisters, please let us know. They're kind of like Travelers Rest royalty. So I'm privileged to have this kind of access. So if anybody has questions for these ladies, please type them in and we'll ask. That was 10 years ago that you opened. And it sounds like it's been a gratifying experience for you. And
Yes, it has. I will be frank. I'm very honest when I say that if we had it to do over, knowing
Yes.
now what we know,
yes,
we would probably not do it, would we, sister?
Well,
'Cause
probably
that's-
not.
Woo,
right.
hard work.
Because the old joke about the restaurant business is how to make a little money in the restaurant business.
So?
You start with a lot of money.
Oh yeah. That's probably Well,
But it's not all about the money.
No,
we have
it's not.
developed
We have-
a lot of friendships and met a lot of people and
We-
reconnected with a lot of
We
people,
sure
which
have.
has been, and watched the growth of the town, and that's been very gratifying for us. I think if we had gone up there and plunked down and nothing had happened, if the town had just stayed at a standstill. And, there are a lot of people who don't like the growth of the town. There's a lot of people who love the growth of the
that
town.
was one of my questions for you. Since you hear the buzz, you have your ear to the ground. What is the general consensus? Now, you ladies grew up in Travelers Rest.
Yes, we were born and raised in
So-
downtown Travelers Rest. I mean, we
Downtown,
right around
okay.
the corner. So,
Wow, interesting.
yeah, our family's been there since 1760, and we've been in downtown Travelers Rest for the last 100 years.
And your father was a doctor.
Yes, and our brother is currently one of the physicians in Travelers Rest.
Okay,
So,
interesting. So I think your opinion and perspective is valued and regarded highly. So,
well, I
don't know about
that. We have those people who blame us for starting the tsunami that has occurred, but you know, things have to change. And while Travelers Rest, when we were growing up, I would have considered it a vital little community. Mm-hmm. When the mills closed, and back in the 70s, it did sort of, you know, stop, and everything closed, and that was it. Mm-hmm. And Travelers Rest is hard to get to. You know, you get Greenville. It's in between Greenville and Hendersonville, mm-hmm. but to get to Easley and to get to Greer,
there's no highway.
There's no, you know, you can't. As we say, you can't get there from here. You know, it's hard to do. Yeah. And so it had become, I would think, rather isolated.
Sure. Well, and the other thing is that in the the late 50s, early 60s, Highway 25 opened, and the 4-lane highway, as we call it, the 4-lane highway. To take Highway 25 up to Hendersonville, and that's where most of the traffic stayed, was out on the 4-lane highway.
Okay. Oh, they didn't come in.
They didn't come into the downtown. Okay. You know, just like any town that happens to. Okay. The town begins to sort of die off. Yes. And then people who had businesses in town, you know, they age out, mm-hmm. and those businesses are not taken on by someone younger and somebody new, and
a Walmart comes along and that takes care of the hardware store
and all the different things, and then the fast food comes along, and then that takes care of. So we felt like we were lucky to Mr. Williams. I don't think enough credit's given to Mr. Williams, because Dick Williams said he knew that what we did to the cafe needed to happen. Yeah. He just didn't want to be the one to do it.
Sure.
He didn't want to be involved in it. He didn't want his money involved in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he knew that needed to be that needed to be what happened. So he was glad to see that happen.
Cool. We have someone watching from Charlotte, and they want to come visit us. Great. Yes, definitely. Hi, Robin. Janice. Hi, Robin. Thanks, Debbie, for giving us the heads up about that. Yeah, come visit, Robin. You will love riding from Greenville to Travelers Rest, or stay in Travelers Rest, walk to this restaurant, the Cafe at Williams Hardware, and then come right on down to Greenville. Mm-hmm. It's just like win-win.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. It is. So that's, I mean, yes, it's important to save our small towns, I think, and I think we're very fortunate to have the trail, because there has to be a reason. I mean, there has to be a reason for people to slow down, mm-hmm. pull off the road, and go investigate what's mm-hmm. going on.
And we've started having, you know, the 4-lane's still there. Yeah. And we have started now having people come off of the 4-lane instead of stopping at a fast food restaurant. Mm-hmm. You know, the wonder of, I don't know your cell phone, is you can Google
Yelp,
and they come in and they eat and they get back on. And you know, Travelers Rest is made just for that, because you can veer off, come to Main Street, and go right back on it. Yeah. Easy in, easy out.
It definitely is. And Travelers Rest is such a perfect name for this town, mm-hmm. because you go up to the mountains easily. Mm-hmm. You go right through Travelers Rest for some of the best hiking in the upstate, and just coming between Hendersonville, Asheville, and Greenville, it's a great place to stop and have lunch.
And that's the good thing, that people like Bo Terry with Sunrift Adventures, you know, he's stayed firm in his place, and the people that have, like Ildy, Electric Forest Coffee, what we call the pioneer businesses. Joyce and I call it pioneer businesses, because they were there for a long time.
Sure.
And kind of by themselves.
By them, you know, just casting them out by themselves. But they have, you know, Bo realized that people were coming to the mountains and to the river and going to the lakes, and they needed to stop at a place that mm-hmm. he provided. Ildy had her coffee roasting and coffee sales. You know, you go in and get a cup of coffee. And for Travelers Rest, that was just new and different. Oh,
Yeah.
that was just, get a cappuccino, what's that?
Yeah.
You know, so Travelers Rest began the bloom back then. And then other things started coming along, and then we showed up, and you know, it has taken off from them. We like to refer to all the others that have come in as those young whippersnappers, because let me tell you, they got a whole lot more energy than we do,
well,
and we are glad to see them show up, because it has been the first 2 or 3 years. It was very quiet at night. Right. We used to be open for dinner, and we quit doing that since, but because it was just too much work. Yeah. But at night it was just dead. But during the day we were so overwhelmed. I mean, at times it was really more business than we could handle.
Because there was nowhere else.
There was nowhere else.
They couldn't say, "Oh, let's go to that tandem place," or
let's go to Whistle Stop, or the Sidewall, or to Farmhouse Tacos, or
now there's
so many places to choose
and that's
from.
one of the things that I think is so important to the development of a small town, small downtown. So we hear a lot of people who say, "Oh, Travelers Rest needs a Starbucks." Well, no, we don't. We have 3 coffee shops, I think.
Wonderful coffee shops. Yeah.
And so not that I have anything personal against Starbucks,
but support your local business.
Support your local businesses.
Yes.
And if you have a Starbucks on every corner, then suddenly you're not anywhere. Right. You're just you're just in Starbucks. Just anywhere.
And we're not really. We don't have a problem with Starbucks. So we're not saying that. We're just using that as an example.
It's just an example.
Because that's the thing that people say the most. Wish we had a Starbucks. Wish we had this. Wish we had that. Well, it's nice to wish you have all those things, but support what you got.
Yes. And right down the street is a Starbucks. I mean, if you really have to have that, it's right down the street. But
when you make every small town look alike, then you miss the vibe of that you get in that small town. You miss the vibe of Leopard Forest coffee. You miss the vibe of going to Tandem and getting your cappuccino
and meeting the owners.
Cafe.
Mm-hmm. The owners are in these businesses and the neighbors, so you meet the locals too, and that's, to me, half of the fun of going to a local business is getting to know the owners and developing that rapport and relationship, like with you guys.
And some people will say, well, you know, it's more expensive there than it is at the fast food restaurants. It's more, you know, the different reasons that the locals will say, well, you know, I don't come there because of this. Well, you don't have to come there every day. You don't have, but every penny you spend in a local business is so important. And you know, come, and there's something in every restaurant and coffee shop and local place, something that everybody can afford. There's something in our store that everybody of every price range can afford, and they need to come, and it doesn't matter how small a purchase is, spend money in that local business. And we've been saying that recently to a new town that's beginning to have some growth and beginning to have, okay, your local people, y'all need to support. And we've also said that if you don't like something that's going on, and if you wish it was the way it used to be, which it's never going to be, because that's the way it used to be in your mind.
And the world is always expanding.
Exactly.
But if you want if you want to have some say so, get involved. Get involved. We did. We got involved.
Get involved.
You've got to get involved.
You have to.
Yeah, I mean, go to the farmers market. Get to know the people.
Volunteer with different groups. Get in and have your say, and you know, everything's not going to go the way you want it to go, but it's you will at least have had your say.
Sure.
And it may, in the future, there may be a change. It might have an effect on what happens.
So what I love about having an inn in downtown Greenville, which is, I say, a cosmopolitan southern city with lots of restaurants, and having an inn in Travelers Rest, which I explained to my guests is a hip mountain town. That's what it feels like. I mean, it feels like
and you know, we just think of it as homes.
Different. It's really, it's a different vibe in Travelers Rest than what you get in Greenville. But you can now stay in Travelers Rest for several days, and there's more than enough to do right there.
And of course, you know, we have people come in and say, we'll say, well, what are y'all up to? You know, if we find out they're from out of town, what are y'all doing? Are you visiting with us today? and they'll say, "Oh, we've come here on vacation," and
we just can't believe it.
Yeah.
Traveler's Rest is a destination.
It is a destination.
and it
It's
is
hard
now.
to believe.
It is now, and that's wonderful.
It's hard
But we
to
just,
believe.
in our minds, we think that's just a hoot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because it's just home to us, and you know, we kind of laugh and say, well, I guess we know now how those people in New York City feel,
Yes.
you know, with all their
Yeah.
tourists and all those people down
Yeah.
in Charleston with all their tourists.
So when you ladies aren't in the restaurant, what do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, I used to do a lot, but now I essentially go home and lay down on the sofa. But we try to do an exercise class or two, and we've tried to start riding our bicycles again.
Very
We
good.
used to ride our bicycles a lot,
You have cute bikes.
but that got problematic, and
Yeah.
we just didn't have time. But
Okay.
we have some. We work with some wonderful people now, and so we've been able to. They've shoot us.
It's wonderful,
away.
isn't it?
They're willing to shoo us away.
Yeah.
Have you a good
That's fine.
team?
We're
Yeah,
good
it
with
is we have a wonderful team now, and I wouldn't take anything for any of them.
And you do the shopping, right? They have a really beautiful gift shop
I
as
do
well.
do all the shopping for the gift
She
shop.
goes to
Yeah,
market,
Go to market
yeah. Okay.
twice a year.
But we
and-
do have some local things.
Yeah, lots of
That's
lots
what I
of
love.
local.
And I have a lot of like the Swamp Rabbit Trail signs and tea towels. They have such a great assortment of this. So if you're looking for a place for some memorabilia or TR specific gifts, go check out their shop at the Cafe at Williams Hardware, which is right in front of the dining room. So yeah, you must go check out these ladies. And thank you all so much for watching. And stop and have lunch at the Cafe at Williams Hardware
Absolutely.
in downtown Toledo.
Come see us.
All right.
us.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching.